Today, we dive deep into the captivating universe of affordable automatic chronograph watches, exploring how remarkable mechanical ingenuity, global watchmaking traditions, and intelligent collecting strategies allow enthusiasts to experience one of horology's most complex complications without entering the realm of ultra-luxury pricing. When someone begins exploring mechanical watches, the chronograph complication almost immediately stands out as one of the most fascinating achievements in traditional watchmaking, because it transforms a simple time-displaying instrument into a sophisticated measuring device capable of recording elapsed time through an independent stopwatch mechanism controlled by pushers on the side of the case. This functionality may appear simple from the outside, yet internally, it requires an intricate mechanical choreography composed of dozens of precisely interacting components, including gears, cams, levers, springs, and clutches that must engage and disengage with extreme precision. Unlike quartz chronographs, where electronics perform the measurement, a mechanical chronograph relies entirely on physical interactions between metal parts moving at high speed. Automatic chronographs elevate this complexity even further because they incorporate a self-winding system driven by a rotating mass known as the rotor, which captures the natural motion of the wearer's wrist to wind the mainspring continuously. Historically, this level of engineering demanded exceptional expertise and extremely expensive manufacturing capabilities, which is why automatic chronographs were once reserved for professional instruments used in aviation, motorsport, military timing, and scientific experimentation. Over time, however, advances in industrial manufacturing, globalization of watch component production, and the emergence of passionate independent brands have gradually lowered the financial barrier to entry. Today, collectors can find mechanically impressive automatic chronographs at prices that would have been unimaginable only a few decades ago. In this context, the term affordable does not necessarily mean cheap or disposable. Rather, it refers to watches that deliver meaningful mechanical value within a price spectrum roughly between 300 and 2,000 euros, offering enthusiasts the opportunity to enjoy the tactile pleasure of a mechanical stopwatch, the visual excitement of moving chronograph hands, and the emotional connection to the long heritage of timing instruments without committing to luxury tier budgets. To truly understand affordable automatic chronographs, one must begin with the movement architecture, because the movement determines the reliability, tactile feel, and long-term serviceability of the watch. Several important mechanical families dominate this segment of the market. One of the most historically influential is the Valjoux 7750 architecture, originally developed during the 1970s, a period when the mechanical watch industry faced intense competition from quartz technology. The 7750 became legendary for its durability and industrial reliability, thanks to its cam-actuated chronograph system, which simplified manufacturing compared with more traditional column wheel designs, while maintaining strong performance under daily use. This movement has powered countless chronographs from brands across the Swiss watch industry and remains widely respected among collectors for its robustness and serviceability. Another important alternative is the SW500, produced by, which offers similar architecture and performance characteristics, and has become increasingly common as movement supply chains evolved in the Swiss industry. Outside Switzerland, Japanese engineering has also played a major role in democratizing the chronograph complication. Movements developed by, particularly those derived from the 8R chronograph family, demonstrate how vertically integrated manufacturing can deliver advanced features such as column wheels and vertical clutches at relatively accessible prices. Meanwhile, Chinese manufacturers have dramatically expanded the entry level of the mechanical chronograph market. The ST19 family produced by is especially significant because it originates from vintage Swiss Venus chronograph tooling acquired decades ago, allowing modern watches to offer classic column wheel chronograph architecture for a fraction of traditional Swiss prices. Understanding these movements helps collectors move beyond superficial marketing language and instead evaluate watches based on the engineering foundations that truly define their mechanical character. Beyond movements, the brand landscape surrounding affordable automatic chronographs is extraordinarily diverse, encompassing established Swiss manufacturers, respected Japanese producers, and a new generation of enthusiast-driven microbrands that operate through direct-to-consumer business models. Among the most accessible Swiss entries are companies such as both of which combine long heritage with modern production capabilities, to deliver well-finished chronographs that maintain a strong connection to traditional watchmaking values. These brands often represent a gateway into mechanical collecting because they provide recognizable names, reliable movements, and solid after-sales support without requiring the extreme budgets associated with high-end Swiss maisons. At the same time, a wave of smaller independent brands has introduced fresh creativity to the chronograph space. Companies such as have built enthusiastic followings by drawing inspiration from mid-20th century chronograph aesthetics while applying contemporary manufacturing standards and thoughtful design proportions. Other independent labels focus on recreating the spirit of vintage racing chronographs with historically inspired dial layouts, vibrant color contrasts, and accessible pricing that invites newcomers into the hobby. These emerging brands demonstrate how the internet has transformed watch distribution. By selling directly to enthusiasts rather than through large retail networks, they can allocate more resources toward movement quality, materials, and finishing while maintaining competitive prices. Design plays a crucial role in the identity of chronograph watches because the complication itself introduces distinctive visual elements that dramatically influence the overall aesthetic of the timepiece. The presence of subdials used to measure elapsed seconds, minutes, and sometimes hours creates layered dial compositions that can vary widely depending on the designer's approach. Some chronographs emphasize legibility with high contrast layouts, while others pursue elegance through carefully balanced proportions and subtle textures. A large portion of affordable chronograph design draws inspiration from classic motorsport timing instruments that gained popularity during the golden era of racing watches in the 1960s and 1970s. Iconic luxury models such as the Omega Speedmaster Professional and the Rolex Daytona established visual conventions, including tachymeter bezels, contrasting subdials, and bold central chronograph hands. Affordable chronographs frequently reinterpret these design cues in creative ways, producing so-called panda dials with white backgrounds and black registers, reverse panda variations with inverted colors, and vintage-inspired luminous materials that evoke the appearance of aged tritium. Case design also contributes significantly to character. Brushed surfaces convey a utilitarian tool watch aesthetic, polished bevels introduce refinement, and carefully shaped pushers enhance the tactile experience of operating the chronograph mechanism. Through these design choices, affordable chronographs manage to capture the emotional spirit of legendary racing instruments while remaining accessible to modern collectors. Another fascinating aspect of affordable automatic chronographs is the experience of interacting with the mechanism itself, because operating a mechanical chronograph engages the wearer in a uniquely tactile relationship with the watch. Pressing the upper pusher to start the chronograph triggers a complex mechanical sequence inside the movement. A lever shifts into position, a clutch engages the chronograph wheel with the main gear train, and the central seconds hand begins sweeping around the dial. Stopping the chronograph involves disengaging this system, while resetting it activates a hammer that strikes heart-shaped cams attached to the chronograph wheels, instantly returning the hands to zero. These interactions produce subtle mechanical sensations that enthusiasts learn to appreciate over time. Column wheel chronographs, for example, often provide smoother and more precise pusher feedback compared with cam-operated systems, which may feel slightly firmer but remain extremely durable. The sound of the pushers, the visual motion of the hands, and even the faint vibration of the rotor in automatic movements all contribute to a sensory experience that digital timing devices simply cannot replicate. This tactile engagement is one of the primary reasons collectors remain passionate about mechanical chronographs, despite the existence of far more accurate electronic alternatives. Purchasing an affordable automatic chronograph also involves thoughtful evaluation of long-term factors such as durability, serviceability, and overall value retention. Mechanical chronographs contain significantly more components than simple three-hand watches, which means maintenance becomes an important consideration. Reliable movement families such as those produced by or are widely respected, partly because watchmakers around the world are familiar with servicing them, ensuring that parts availability and technical expertise remain accessible over time. Buyers should also consider case construction, water resistance, crystal materials, and bracelet quality, since these physical attributes strongly influence how well the watch withstands daily use. Sapphire crystals provide excellent scratch resistance, screw-down crowns enhance water protection, and solid metal bracelets contribute to overall durability. Beyond technical considerations, the emotional dimension of collecting also plays a role. Some enthusiasts prioritize historical authenticity, seeking chronographs that faithfully echo vintage design language, while others prefer modern interpretations that incorporate contemporary materials and color palettes. The key is to choose a watch whose design, mechanical character, and brand philosophy resonate personally, ensuring that the piece continues to bring satisfaction long after the initial purchase. Finally, the broader appeal of affordable automatic chronographs lies in their ability to serve as both educational tools and gateways into deeper appreciation of mechanical watchmaking. Owning such a watch encourages collectors to learn about movement architecture, chronograph history, and the evolution of industrial manufacturing techniques that made these complications more accessible. It also highlights the remarkable diversity within the modern watch industry, where traditional Swiss maisons coexist with innovative independent brands and technologically sophisticated Asian manufacturers. As collectors explore different models, they begin to recognize subtle distinctions in dial symmetry, case finishing, pusher ergonomics, and rotor behavior. Details that transform watch collecting from simple consumer activity into an ongoing exploration of craftsmanship and design. Affordable chronographs therefore occupy a unique position within the horological ecosystem. They deliver genuine mechanical complexity and historical significance while remaining within reach of a wide audience, allowing enthusiasts to experience the magic of mechanical timing without crossing into prohibitive price territory. As collectors spend more time exploring the landscape of affordable automatic chronographs, another fascinating dimension begins to emerge: the influence of historical tool watches that shapes the design philosophy of modern chronographs. Many of the stylistic and functional elements that appear in today's accessible models originate from instruments developed for pilots, racing drivers, engineers, and military personnel during the 20th century. For example, aviation chronographs were designed with large, highly legible dials, oversized pushers, and bold, luminous hands, so that pilots could measure flight intervals quickly, even under stressful conditions. Motorsport chronographs, by contrast, emphasize tachometer scales and precise minute counters to calculate average speeds and lap times during races. These functional requirements gradually evolved into recognizable aesthetic codes that continue to influence modern watch design. Affordable chronographs frequently reinterpret these historical cues, offering enthusiasts the opportunity to experience the spirit of vintage tool watches without the fragility or high prices associated with original collector pieces. The continued popularity of racing-inspired chronographs demonstrates how powerful this historical connection can be, because even contemporary watches often echo the design language established by legendary instruments such as the Omega Speedmaster Professional and the Rolex Daytona. While these icons occupy the luxury segment of the market, their visual DNA has inspired countless accessible alternatives produced by brands around the world, allowing enthusiasts to enjoy similar aesthetic experiences at a fraction of the cost. In this way, affordable automatic chronographs act as bridges between past and present, translating the heritage of professional timing instruments into modern watches that can be worn every day. Another important aspect of the affordable automatic chronograph universe is the remarkable evolution of manufacturing techniques that have made such complicated watches accessible to a global audience. In earlier eras, the production of mechanical chronographs required highly specialized craftsmen performing delicate assembly tasks by hand, which inevitably drove prices upward and limited production volumes. Today, however, advancements in computer-controlled machining, high-precision metal stamping, and automated component finishing have transformed the way watch movements are produced. These technologies allow manufacturers to achieve extremely tight tolerances while maintaining consistent quality across large production runs. Companies have perfected vertically integrated manufacturing systems that control nearly every stage of production, from raw material processing to final assembly. Meanwhile, Swiss movement suppliers have developed industrial frameworks capable of delivering reliable chronograph calibers to numerous watch brands, ensuring that smaller companies can focus on design and finishing while relying on proven mechanical foundations. Chinese manufacturers have also contributed significantly to the democratization of chronographs. The ST19 movement family produced by Siegel is a particularly striking example because it allows watches costing only a few €100 to incorporate traditional column wheel architecture once reserved for high-end Swiss timepieces. This combination of global manufacturing expertise has reshaped the market in profound ways, enabling collectors to access mechanical complexity that once seemed unattainable without a substantial financial commitment. Ultimately, the journey into affordable automatic chronographs becomes far more than a simple purchasing decision. It evolves into an exploration of mechanical culture, craftsmanship, and personal taste. Collectors quickly discover that the joy of these watches does not reside solely in their ability to measure elapsed time, but also in the stories they embody and the experiences they create. Each chronograph carries with it echoes of aviation cockpits, racetrack timing stands, and scientific laboratories where precise measurement once played a critical role. Wearing such a watch invites the owner to interact with a small mechanical machine that transforms everyday wrist movement into stored energy, converts gear rotations into sweeping hands, and coordinates dozens of components to perform a task that modern electronics could accomplish more easily, yet far less poetically. Over time, enthusiasts begin to appreciate subtle distinctions between watches. The smooth engagement of a column wheel chronograph, compared with the assertive click of a cam system, the visual rhythm of subdials arranged in different configurations, or the quiet spinning sensation of an automatic rotor winding the mainspring beneath the dial. These small details gradually build a deeper understanding of horology and foster a sense of connection with the centuries-old craft of mechanical timekeeping. In the end, affordable automatic chronographs represent one of the most rewarding entry points into watch collecting because they combine genuine mechanical sophistication, historical resonance, and accessible pricing, proving that the magic of traditional watchmaking can still be experienced without entering the rarefied territory of ultra-luxury timepieces. In the end, the search for an affordable automatic chronograph is not merely about finding the lowest price for a complicated watch, but about discovering the intersection of engineering ingenuity, historical inspiration, and personal connection that makes mechanical watchmaking such an enduring and captivating art.